I don't know what I do. I don't know what I do. Oh my God, welcome to this week's episode of Ancient Wisdom. Could that be Ancient Wisdom? We're dumber than ever. Y'all, you are so dumb. Yes, Evan, I do mean you. But you're not alone in that.
Oh.
It's really all of us. And on this show, we get to the ancient root of modern problems. So let's get into it. But first, some fun stuff.
Guys, did you know the golden age of Spain was in 1492?
Did they have a lot of gold?
Well, something happened.
Oh, I can't remember. What the date sounds familiar.
This is the year when Spain expelled the few chosen people.
Oh my God.
So have you guys ever been this scared at a haunted house before?
Watch out, bro!
Oh shit. Stop scaring me. Some say you'll find love one day. Others say love will find you.
Hello. So today I have my hubby here, and we're gonna talk about how we met. Hello, Snookums. I love him so much. Get closer. First, we need a sippy. I forgot. Would you like one?
What
we
the?
met in a
Tree.
No.
Coffee shop.
Thank you. We met in a coffee shop. I was the barista.
He was le customer.
And of course, my barista name was Senorita Awesome.
What did he say to you?
What would you like today?
So of course, he says, I want a coffee.
And what kind of coffee did you get, baby?
A hot one.
A hot one, just like him and me. So I says to him, how hot would you like it? This
Hot enough.
Hot enough. And then after looking in his bluish eyes for about 40 seconds, I couldn't take it anymore, and I just went, And what did you do?
Nothing.
Dating. That's also how I got fired from that coffee shop, but that's a different story.
You got fired. That's the same story.
Just pretend. I'm telling you, coffee shops, man. Me and this guy. Can somebody give me an awooga?
So that was worth it. It was a long one, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
You could get rid of that face.
That guy was actually like that, too. I thought he was putting on a character.
I thought he was retarded at first. But yeah, I can't tell if that's real or not. But
He seemed genuine. The guy seemed
Yeah, he
genuinely
seemed
just like doesn't
genuinely annoyed.
and genuinely
didn't
just
wanna be
completely
there.
indifferent.
He's like, all right, I locked down a girl. Could prove to my mom I'm not gay. Guys, in the ancient tongue of Japanese, also known as Japanese, there's really two verb forms, the suru and the aru, which is basically means to be and to do. And typically, historically, they've kind of been associated with the masculine and the feminine. And I says, wait a second, hold on. Does this remind you of anything? And I remembered this old quote that women are human beings and men are human doings. So it's clear to me that feminine value, I was going to say feminine value and power, but it's really just feminine value comes from being, which means like being peaceful, being young, being quiet. Being implies just being, which entails being quiet, just being.
Just go with the flow and be led by something else.
Yeah, that's a good way of seeing it. They're all very associated concepts. When you think being, you think submissive, you think accepting of things. And of course, much like anything, there's two sides of every coin. Like, you're too accepting some of these women, so they get led in the wrong directions. If they follow the wrong men, if they don't have followers, they get fathers, they get led astray. This is why they're the biggest spenders, because all the commercials are for them. These are the negative sides of just being, because you are susceptible to all these things.
And the opposite of just being would be combative, rebellious, disagreeable, all things that are against going with the flow and rock the boat and make you who you aren't really supposed to be.
And that comes from the masculine value of the doing, actually penetrating into the world. Like, a man cannot be lazy or he has no value. I think laziness is the crux of the masculine spirit. Would you agree?
Sloth, it's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Comment. I like that. Sloth. That's a huge one. Gluttony. Those are tied in as far as I'm concerned.
Sloth might lead to them all, really.
Yeah.
If you're not doing something, the idle hands are the devil's playground, as they say.
Oh my God. And they say pride is actually the worst. You know, that's the ancient platitude, pride being the worst. And that's tied in there too, because there was even this, I saw this Destiny video talking about list masculine qualities. And then he lists all these cool things: brave, protector, strong. You know what? One day I think women just woke up and said, oh, we want to be cool too. So there's a spectrum. But then I says, okay, but what if that's not true? What if men are just cool? Can you accept that? Could you possibly accept that the men are the cool ones?
'Cause you
and
can't
women don't
try.
have to be cool?
You can't try to be cool. You just are.
Oh man, there it. And the most uncool thing is to try to be cool, especially when your essential value is in being, not doing. You don't need to do that. It's phony. Wow, that's deep.
By trying to do instead of be, you're becoming uncool.
Oh man.
But you're already cool, man.
You're already cool. Whoa. And I think that's the hardest thing for women.
You're
Wow.
already cool, man. They just got to be right there.
We all have our own struggles. Women need to like sort of just accept the being is just being.
Just be cool, man.
Yeah, be
That's
still
all.
and know, be cool. And all of a sudden you have so much value, but then you can't just be. You're trapped in the doing.
Yep.
So you are led astray into perhaps attempting to fulfill the masculine role.
I agree with everything you said, but that I think like she's got a nag. Like it's just in nature. Like that's just what it because otherwise maybe it's like I think I said this before. It's like a check on the guy.
Yeah.
When she's like, "Oh, fix the stove." Because
I could take that to the next level and say maybe that's the balancing of a weak male.
Yeah.
What she has to
that's what I
fill
was
in.
getting at. Yeah, that's what
And
I was
it's like,
getting at.
okay,
Yeah.
it's sort of like this bastardization or like this filling in of what wasn't there before. Okay, you got a dumb, basic dude. All right, well, I guess I gotta be a little mess. That's what women say sometimes. Well, I guess I gotta do it. And it's like, but who's the person that chose the man? It was you.
Yeah.
All right, you're making me do stuff I won't want to do. Who's making you do stuff?
Right.
You are the chooser. Literally, women are the sexual selective half of it. They're the one that chooses to be there, not the men. The men will just, okay, you take me, great. Like our first link there. The guy was just happy to get a girl to molest him at Starbucks.
I just can't see that just being is almost too stressful for women. I don't understand that.
And maybe you never could. I think that's the deep part of it, because the masculine challenge is not just doing the idle hands. You want to be lazy, you want to be sloth. It is tempting to just do nothing ever, but then you have no value. Then you're not as much of a man as you were. Same thing with them. It's like it's very tempting to do. Theirs is more of like a mental demon, I think, and ours is more of like a physical demon. Our body wants to relax and just chill. You can, but you have a lot less value than someone who's out there doing it, working with his hands, getting shit done, changing things. They do not have the equipment.
Yeah, that too. But the men are more equipped to be and do and not get a sense of ego fulfillment out of doing. Like women tend to do it just to say they did it, kind of thing.
Oh, that's funny.
And men do it just because it must be done. It's the task at hand.
The
kind of thing.
obligation, the task at hand, sort of nature, you must do it, where, yeah, women sort of want a fucking cookie because they did it.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, that's sad. I like that. That's so true, though.
Yeah, the women get some kind of identity from doing something or attaining something.
So then that leads me to my next point, which is kind of, is it a coincidence that women want to be men at this perfect time in history? Is it a big coincidence that men did everything, we explored, we conquered everything, and now they're like, being a man sounds pretty good. I can totally do that.
Yeah, what?
Bitch, the jobs are done.
The perfect time.
You have running water in your house. You have supermarkets. You have a home. Your house was built. Oh, you know what? I could be a man. Yeah. It doesn't seem that hard. Psh, mow the lawn twice a week. Like, God.
Did that just solve why societies fail when they get to a certain point? Because everything's been done already? They have to just...
That's a big one. And it's a destructor of the masculine soul if there's nothing to do anymore besides play video games and pretend like you're actually doing things.
I was having this thought that feminism coupled with modern economy is like a self-perpetuating cycle, because feminists want to, work more and, do more in the workplace, and the modern economy is just like, all right, work more hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
They say great.
And then then it's like, oh, you're just being, you're showing that you can do everything. You're being, strong woman. And then the economy again is like, okay, cool.
Great.
Work more
Strong
hours.
women, and then they push that even more.
And
okay.
then, and then you don't have time for family.
Kind of sounds great.
No time for marriage. So the economy's like, okay, you'll have more time to work more hours.
God, politics and economy really feels like we sell the future for the now.
Yeah, you got it. You hit nail
right?
on the
Isn't
head
that
there.
true?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the whole liberal premise is we got to worry about tomorrow. And it's the opposite.
Yeah.
They destroy the future and the now.
Yeah.
Like, because of fake electric energy or any number of their stupid ideas.
And-
eating the bugs.
And I hate to give the easy argument, but women can also advance in career by just sleeping with a male boss too.
Oh, it's too easy. It's not a level playing field in that sense.
Right. It's sickening if you were going to take that easy route instead of actually doing it the right way.
Yup. And I kind of had this thought that if there's nowhere to go in society, we go all right, but we go insane. We're losing it. We go somewhere. There's always somewhere to go.
Somewhere to go.
But it's not always a good place that you end up in. And it's like, it seems like there's really nowhere to go but inward. So then would you guys agree with my statement that if there's no problems, we are forced to invent them due to our human nature?
Absolutely.
Man, doesn't that resonate just a little too deep?
And I
It's
thought
like there's always going to be problems. Everyone thinks about this crazy future where things are going to be solved. But what if that's just a fairy tale?
Menu anxiety.
Oh, man. Yo.
Again, yeah.
That's new.
Too many choices.
And at one point, that's why I thought that man created God, because it was something it was a new challenge. It was something to best on the food chain, for lack of a better word. And you've done everything, you fear nothing else, so you can only think that there's somewhere else to go, kind of thing from there. And God is that next thing, something that is above you and superior in all ways.
Damn. That's why we killed that bitch
That's right.
and made ourselves the god. I think of, like modern wars and stuff like that, how it's all based on even the death of God or these fake religions. Like, is a real person who believes in God going to genocide another race? I think it's ridiculous. We're living in this most powerful era of gaslighting that the world has ever seen. Where now actually the great threat is worldwide slavery from the powerful classes, the World Economic Forum, and yet we don't even see it. We don't even believe in it. We can't. Because we live in gaslighting and they like it. They like that women are working extra hours. It helps them. So they push it. And as we're all being destroyed and as we're all being enslaved, we're the biggest thing on the news is that, that doesn't exist, man. That's misinformation.
Yep.
That is a conspiracy theory.
Shunryu Suzuki said, "It is absolutely necessary to believe in nothing. That is, we have to believe in something which has no form and no color, something which exists before all forms and colors appear. No matter what God or doctrine you believe in, if you become attached to it, your belief will be based more or less on a self-centered idea."
The nothingness I would translate as being open to all, open to all experiences, all possibilities in each moment.
And it seems like trying to save others is an egoic enterprise in itself.
Absolutely, I'd say so. I mean, granted, I'm sure there's some that actually care, actually believe, actually want to save, but it's the 10% doing 90% of the work. There's one or two guys at your church who actually believe in God. The rest are just afraid. So we've referred to this before, but it really hit me this week that, the far left and the far right, as I've said, I think are closest to being normal people, whereas the Fox News and the CNN are way at the bottom. Like, the far left knows it's a genocide. The far right knows it's a genocide. But they're different. They're not the same, clearly, right? Mm-hmm. So do you guys vibe with this statement that the far right ends up lacking certain things like love or openness, trait openness, and the far left ends up lacking basic logic and reality?
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Does that not vibe?
That
Yep.
does sound right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they're all very close to the truth, but they're lacking a fundamental part of the yin yang, the piece to finish the equation. Can't believe I'm saying this, but leave it to the road manager of AC/DC to have the hottest quote of all. Can you read that for me, Poach?
God is the name of the blanket we throw over mystery to give it shape.
Ooh,
AC/DC's road manager, Barry Taylor.
Barry Taylor, baby.
Who knew there were such wise people in these rock and roll
Man,
bands?
yeah, sometimes we sleep on the rock and roll dudes. Those guys were popping tabs and shit like that on the
I guess so.
have a lot of time and money to just think about the deeper meaning. But wow, doesn't that resonate? Anybody who talks about God is talking about this blanket that we throw over the great mystery, because there's nothing to be said about what's underneath. We wouldn't even know its form or its shape.
The subtle mystery.
Yeah, if there wasn't a covering to see the silhouette of God, because the true mystery cannot be known.
Because now too many people talking about God lowers the impact that God actually has.
Oh my God. Hence my thesis of the 90-10. I like that a lot. I really believe that. Some people have grace, some people don't. Are they destined to be that way? I can't say for sure. But throughout history, there's been great men and mostly pieces of shit who try to kill them and destroy them and take them down, all in the name of themselves, frankly.
And I think what Shunryu Suzuki was ultimately trying to say, in my opinion, is that when you attach yourself to God, you're not living amongst God from within. He doesn't want you to attach yourself to him. I actually was thinking about how odd it was that Jesus was looking up at the sky, as if it goes against everything Jesus talked about of looking within too. I'm almost convinced he is more of like a Eastern worshiper of God and his practices and stuff like that. How he said, look within and be still and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But he's always kind of depicted looking up at the sky. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and it's also like a lot of people who don't like the idea of Jesus and God. He's like, all right, if Jesus is God, who are you praying to?
Exactly. Yeah, right.
I thought you were God. Are you praying to yourself?
Right.
You know, that type of thing.
But people think they have to kneel and look upwards, and it's just another symbolism of reaching for something.
Yeah, exactly.
And trying to attach yourself to it rather than just like, no, you're cool, bro. He's already with you.
That's the 90%, dude. Getting too in your head about these concepts or having a fixed idea about these concepts. Oh, what are you praying to, an old man in the sky? That's spirit, you know. But anybody has infinite concepts about the divine. But it really is. It's a symbolism. It's all mythology. We come from simple times, but maybe there's the most wisdom in the simple.
I think Mr. Suzuki points that out in this next quote also.
Oh, you serious?
He says, although we have no actual written communications from the world of emptiness, we have some hints or suggestions about what is going on in that world, and that is, you might say, enlightenment. When you see a plum blossoms or hear the sound of a small stone hitting bamboo, that is a letter from the world of emptiness.
Oh, letter from the world of emptiness.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
That's right. So, what does he mean emptiness? Isn't emptiness bad?
Oh my God. Emptiness is scary.
I know. Where do you go in emptiness when it's empty?
So I think of ancient wisdom. I think of ancient knowledge. I think of oral tradition. You could not write it down. So we were physically less inclined to have the mentality of symbolism to that degree, so that it poisons the brain. The overthinking, maybe we're more empty. You like that? It's a pretty deep one. And of course, I think about, you know, in my astral travels, it has been spoken to me that the poison is the busy mind. The busy mind. There's the universe in the plum blossom, or whatever you said. Because there's the universe in everything. But the busy mind causes us to miss it. We speed right by it. We're going 90 and a 25. We're rushing to death. We all got something to do. We all got a place to be. But if you listen to that sound, if you meditate, if you take the psychedelics, time literally slows down.
Yep.
4-hour trip can feel like 24 hours. Could feel like a lifetime, for Christ's sake.
And you're so right. That's where everybody is missing it in life. Those small instances, they happen all the time, especially when you really start paying attention. Like, just for an quick example, the other night I was about to go out to a restaurant with this girl, and then the first 2 restaurants we decided on didn't work out. One only you could pay cash, and the other they weren't doing dine-in from COVID stuff.
What?
So, but that was God telling me, listen, bro, you got to just not do it tonight. Do it another night because you're already in a bad mindset anyways.
Nice, yeah.
But I still ignored it and went to a third place.
Oh, my God.
I fucked up. And I was just like, man, God actually spoke to me 2 of the 3 times.
And I chose not to listen.
Yep.
The simple fact that when nothing is novel, we don't even notice it. When nothing is new, exciting, or different, you could just disregard what you see every day, totally forgetting the fact that it is divine. It has deep meaning.
Oh my God. And what we're missing is novel too, if you pay attention enough.
Oh man, the
things you're
piece that
missing.
we're missing about it is novel. So it all starts and ends in the mind. Wow, that's so
Always.
funny.
I've had so many instances where like I'm kind of freaking out if I like smoked pot in the past or something like that, and I'm just freaking out, and a simple like drop from my faucet snaps me back into the moment and be like, listen,
That's
bro,
cool.
you're going crazy. It's all good. You got water coming from the sink right now.
Oh, dude, that's the sign. The universe calms you down. Yeah, we have less appreciation for these things.
The
And
loss
I'm
of
like,
gratitude.
yeah, I see a rock every day, but like the hardness that it is, the fact that it exists, we're looking at it from the wrong perspective. We see it from the same perspective. So just because we we live out our mundane lives and see things the same way doesn't mean it's not a million other things. I think that's the difference between the artist mind. And maybe the artist mind might even see too many sometimes. That's why they end up being depressed and shit.
Because they're seeing too many signs of the divine.
You know, I'm going to take that back and say they're also trapped, but with like a more depressing approach to the mundane.
Ooh.
I like that
see.
better. I'm going to go with that.
Now, one of the most confusing quotes that I've come across was by a Japanese priest named Dogen. He said, "We must always be disturbed by the truth."
Something that disturbs you. It changes your normal flow. It perhaps can produce the novel because it disturbs the wata. It disturbs what is already taking place. If you knew everything, this is almost definitional. If you knew everything already, you would be God. Obviously, it wouldn't disturb you. But if you want to grow, you must be disturbed because it is definitional. That which you do not know is being learned. You are disturbing the flow that already is. If you choose to be more within the world is filled with lessons. The divine is not. The divine is the destruction of lessons, where you could go into infinity, eternity, and peace.
Whoa. I didn't know that was going to get so deep. And it made me think of earlier, maybe that's why women have such a hard time just being. They're actively fighting against just being.
Oh, man.
Because just being would encounter something disturbing. You know, but they're fighting against just being and having a half cup full kind of thing.
Guys, I was thinking about this topic of violence.
Violencia.
We have this modern society has this problem with getting a little too rough around the edges. Everything revolves around a peaceful conclusion. Like everything has to just have a non-violent, everybody is going to be okay in the end answer right now. And I'm trying to ask, is violence a relic of the past?
I think the kid in school who always wanted things to just be peaceful and just get along with everybody always got bullied.
Oh, yeah. Always got his butt kicked.
He just wanted he just wanted the peace, but he didn't realize if he just stood up once, it would all end.
Wow. Reminds me of like getting women too, telling you to be a gentleman when you're young.
Oh God.
Like all this shit is trash. It's all trash. Your mom tells you just be nice and you'll make friends. Just go out there and make peace with the other kids and everybody's gonna love you just the way you are. No. Tell these kids the truth. If you're a man, you are hated. They will hate you. They will try to kill you. And in fact, the more nice you are, it's proportional to the amount that you will be bullied.
Damn.
So it sounds like you guys think that violence does have a place. Like there's a force. There's a force of just like punching someone or doing something that kind of like has a place. It has a.
Damn, I'll say, Poge.
Yeah.
We gotta define violence.
Sure. Yeah, we should.
Would you guys say that violence is just someone getting hurt?
No.
It could be. I want to say it could be both. There's a good violence and a bad violence. Like a good violence. Like,
oh yeah.
Like a just violence.
Some caricature we might know.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the times in modern times, violence is misconstrued for standing up for oneself. Being overly honest. Silence is violence. Have we heard this?
Oh my God.
There's a lot of definition of violence.
Silence is violence.
Silence is violence. If you keep your mouth shut, you might as well have my sister.
There was a time when violence strictly meant offensive, unprovoked physicality.
Yeah.
But now silence and words are violence.
Sure. And that's the
How does
extreme, right? But it's just like, how many times have you just stood up for yourself and you're the one getting in trouble in these liberal indoctrination camps we call schools?
Yeah, for decades now. Like there was a guy in Texas in like the late 2000s where he stood up for himself and shot the ground at some MS-13 gang members. He didn't even shoot them, just warning shots, and he got arrested because the police are like, you could have killed somebody.
Man. So I say it's always the problem with these definitions, right? It's much like the left is too far gone from logic. The right is too far gone from love. It reminds me of the concept you guys may know as the Overton window. Have you guys heard this?
I don't know.
Have you heard this term? The Overton window is the generally accepted societal norms of said time.
Oh.
So things change over time. In the 80s, you could say now you can't. In the 1800s, transgenders were weird. The Overton window changes with time.
The lens of culture snapped
The
at
lens
that time.
of culture, you could see it as, yeah.
Because even now, what they're trying to normalize is standing up for yourself as violence. Which
Right.
I argue violence should only be defined as violence if someone's on the offensive for no reason at all except to hurt an individual.
And if I know anything, I know human nature is stagnant. Maybe we'll change one day, but we have not.
Right.
And I stand firmly by that. Humans have not changed. I'm the same as I was 10,000 years ago. Can't say for sure, but I highly believe it. All the ancient texts are with me. And the fact that society just changes what it says is okay is terribly damaging to us until we end up in a time like now where we are so far from anything natural on this earth that we're literally heading toward extinction.
And you can't really defend yourself either today because that lack of love from people on the extreme right, like you were saying earlier, they'll be on the defensive, but they'll take the response too far where they'll kill somebody as they're defending themselves, like they've got them pinned down and they'll like gouge their eyes out or something awful and horrific.
Wow. So what I hear you saying, Evan, is like the right is almost trying to hold back their feelings of violence, and then the left is just uncontrollably releasing them.
Wow.
Almost is what I'm hearing.
Man, I wish I had that Sigmund Freud quote ready because it so applies. It's like if you don't express your emotions in the moment, they'll just come out like quadruple, 8 times, tenfold worse. in a fit of rage later on if you don't deal with it at the moment. That's
I believe
so
in that.
true.
I believe in that.
Yeah, I vibe with that. Like, it must be expressed in one way or the other. Things can fester, they could sit. Like stagnant water. It gathers the mold. A rolling stone gathers no moss. You must keep moving. Stagnant water. That's deep.
Oh, man,
Stagnant water.
It gathers the algae.
I forgot where I was going.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered the entire topic.
Yeah, we go.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
With Mitch's rant.
Yeah, 'cause we talked about what happens when you censor violence.
Oh,
I think
man.
we talked about that. We talked about the law and what happens when you defend yourself.
What happens when you censor violence, Poach? I'll tell you
Yes,
what.
Let's do that.
We get shitty fucking movies.
Yeah.
That's what we get. We get terrible entertainment that nobody wants to watch. And this goes back to our primal instincts that we now suppress, which is that we are still sitting on the bleachers at the Coliseum.
Yep.
We're doing it right now. I can see it.
Wearing jerseys with man's names on our backs.
I'm literally sitting there at the Coliseum right now. I'm watching a bunch of virgins get ripped to pieces with a lion. I'm going like this. I'm watching two gladiators rip each other eyes out. I'm going like this. I said, great. That's good show, Gav. Good show. We're still there. I'm still that
Yep.
man. And so are you. You're just a liar. But we can't even have good movies anymore because of your stupid perception of violence. And that even changing violence a little bit to standing up for oneself, let alone violence way down here. I mean, silence is violence way down here. Just standing up for yourself. We change the Overton window a little bit. We change everything.
And the perpetrators of violence, because there is no female cartel gang leader. But
That'd be a movie I watch.
I only bring that up because a girl said she saw that recently. She's like, yeah, I think there's like some historical context to it. I'm
No.
like, you are...
The answer's no. How dumb could you... Dude, it's dangerous. This is an ancient MITCH clause, and we can't even talk too much about it on YouTube. But you're so dumb that it's dangerous for yourself and society. If there was a female cartel member and you're on the wrong side of the law and there's no police officers and law and order, you'll be so fast. The bitch, there's stories coming out of India right now where a bitch was hanging out with the Taliban and was totally fine. Went to India, instantly got twice by 7 guys.
Oh, that was the story. I didn't know she was with the Taliban.
She was chill. She took a selfie with the whole Taliban. Bunch of dudes
Wow.
with rocket launchers in their hand, and she was fine.
Wow, is that... Dude, violence is so skewed.
Violence is weird, man. You never know.
You think you think rocket launchers are violent. But no.
Whoa, especially rocket launchers in the scene, too.
Yeah.
But
She could have been exploded.
it's time to get even more ancient. With Mitch translates the Tao. The Tao, as translated by me, chapter 29. Should a man desire to obtain the world, to remake it in his own image, I see he does not get it. The world is a divine thing. It cannot be changed. It cannot be grasped. He who would change it damages it. He who would grasp it loses it. Therefore, some things go and some things follow. Some breathe gently and some breathe hard. Some are resilient and some are trapped. Some build and some destroy. Therefore, the holy man avoids the extreme, the extravagant, and the excessive. Oh, yeah. Did you guys enjoy that one?
I sure did.
Was that so fun?
Man, I think the fact that the unholy man tries to change the world, it just spoke to me now more in that Tao that the world is change, so there's no changing the change itself.
Oh, that's a fun one. How can you change the change?
It's almost the world and everything existence is just defined by change.
Right. It's already happening. It doesn't need you.
Ooh, it doesn't need you. That's deep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's very stern. It's like the world's telling you that I don't need you to do this. Stay out of it. Everything just gets worse
Hefty.
when you try to change me.
That's my new word, hefty.
Hefty.
I like that a lot. Yeah, hefty. I've been saying it a lot.
That
just
is
sounds
hefty.
cool. It's hefty, man. It's pretty hefty. So I would like to point out a slight inconsistency, but see if you guys could figure this one out. If it cannot be changed, it cannot be grasped. And the Chinese is pretty clear with that. Of course, the changed could be like acted upon. The grasped is similar to like executing a plan, but it cannot be. Cannot be. But he who would change it damages it. Now, that was a tough translation because he would change it. He cannot change it, but he would. He who would change it damages it, and he who would grasp it loses it. But if it cannot be changed, it cannot be grasped, how is it damaged or lost, huh? Anyone? Comment?
That's a hefty one.
Hefty.
That is a hefty one for sure.
Now, if I may, if you guys have no thoughts on this, I think it's an experience of self. The interconnectedness between you and the world.
Man, because
Right?
you are the world.
You are the world.
Oh my
you don't damage
gosh.
it. You damage yourself. You damage your experience. You lose it. You lose yourself.
And that's why we're suffering.
Oh, ain't it the truth, my friend? Ain't it the truth? AKA, you will ruin yourself and lose the experience of it if you even try.
That was the story I was telling earlier. I already knew what not to do because both of my restaurant choices were eliminated, and I'm like, there's got to be another one.
There's gotta be, right?
I had to grasp this thing that was constantly changing. It was already done.
There's an alternate translation of one of these last lines: some build and some destroy. That could also be like some fill up and some overthrow. Like some, perhaps I see that as gathering a lot into your life, building up a city, and some overthrow it. Pretty much the same meaning, but more food for thought to think about the wideness of this statement. And of course, the big final line. Let's get into it. The holy man avoids the extreme, extravagant, and excessive. So this goes to Poge's point about the chaos of the preceding lines, which is that the holy man isn't about any of that. He maybe doesn't go or follow. He doesn't breathe gently or hard. He's not resilient or trapped. This could be a statement of the middle way.
It almost sounds like the holy man has overcome death, even though he's so in the present and can avoid the extravagant things in life. He's already gone so far into the depths of his mind of hell, which is the past and future. And he realizes that the extravagant is the egoic desire kind of thing. So he knows he can't take any of this stuff with him beyond.
Yeah, there's something
the
deep
abyss.
about that, because what is death if not merely in the mind? Because the death is of the mind.
An illusion.
You could say that for sure. It is not anything that you experience. So everybody's spending their life afraid of death, but you won't be there to experience it.
What is the extravagant?
It probably is similar to the Nietzschean philosophy of decadence. Decadence. Extravagant things. That which is more than required for its own sake. But is it for its own sake? Or are you just showing off your new Balenciaga sneakers? Why'd you really get those Trump shoes? Are you just a big fan? Guys, I think we got to the ancient root of modern problems. Break the conditioning and return to ancient wisdom.